I'm here.
There he is. Good morning, Coach. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
We'll get started first with John Dell. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, Steve, you talked earlier in the year about the passing and how a good passing team this is, and it seems to be getting better. What is the key to having a good passing team? Is there any secret, or is it just, drills you do in practice, or what do you think it is?
We recruit good players. I think that, just try to play to your strengths and stay away from your weaknesses. I use baseball a lot. Just try to hit a single, not a triple. You got to work around the bases. You got to share the ball, make the easy play. And, I think we're doing a good job of that at the moment. We got to continue to do it. I think one of the reasons why we've been successful recently is because our assist turnover ratio is really good as a team. We have two guys that handle the ball the majority of the time, Ty Appleby and Cameron Hildreth, who make pretty good decisions. And everybody else just tries to play within themselves. When they don't, then we have problems, and so I think it just comes down to role identification and then playing to your strengths and staying away from your weaknesses.
Kip Koons, go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, Steve. I asked Brad Brownell this question and about the transfer portal, and he said that you have probably been the most successful coach in the league at retooling year to year out of the portal. What's your secret? Why have you been able to identify players, or what is it about your approach that helps you identify these guys that seem to fit into your system so seamlessly?
Well, I'm not going to share that because all the head coaches are probably listening. I don't know. I mean, I really don't. I like beauty's in the eye of the beholder. My wife married me for some reason. It's just, there's just certain things I like, and I think you got to do a lot of background check, a lot of work, behind the scenes on character, how good a teammate they are, how hard they work. We talk to the other staff where they're leaving. I don't know, it's just always, it just takes a little bit of luck sometimes too. And then I think, the summer is really important, where you have 8 weeks when you get them here to integrate them into the chemistry of your team. See, I think a lot of people think, well, if you have transfers, you can't have good chemistry. And I just don't believe that, because you have 8 weeks in the summer and about 16 weeks in the fall before you ever play a game. And so you can develop. If you can't develop chemistry by then, you're not going to develop it, I don't think. And I'm sure, a lot of people think, I don't know, because I was a junior college coach for 11 years, that has something to do with it, because my roster would change a lot every year, maybe. I don't know. Obviously we've done well. Last year, all of those guys were really good players. Alondis was player of the year. Jake was a first-round NBA player. Dallas Walton played great. Adim C. I'm forgetting somebody, I'm sure. This year, Ty is playing outstanding. Davian has played great. Damari, Andrew Carr, Davion Bradford's played well for us. So it's not a perfect science by no means, but hey, high school recruiting ain't either. Everybody's like, I think a lot of traditionalists are like, oh, you got to recruit just high school players, but that's not the world we live in now. And if it's either adapt or get run over. And I've chosen to do both. We got good high school players too, but our transfers have done very well. And maybe some of it too is, I give them a lot of confidence to be good. And so confidence is a big thing in basketball.
Connor O'Neill, go ahead.
Steve, that's a good segue for me. After the Carolina game, you mentioned that you thought Cam was a little sped up in that game. And since then, he's got like 64 points on 67% shooting. How much has confidence played a factor for him in the last three? And did you have to say anything, or is it just kind of something he did on his own?
Well, Cam's a smart player. He's a coach's son. I think confidence is really important for him, Connor. and every player is different, you know, and I think it helps Cam when I'm confident in him. I don't think Cam's a guy that I need to be yelling at a whole lot. You know, I think he needs to hear encouragement from me and the rest of the staff. And I think that helps him. It's not that I can still coach him. Experience of playing, right? He didn't play a lot last year. He played some, had some good moments. But at this point last year, I think is where he went to the bench for a while. Sit down, you're done. And so probably a combination of a lot of that. Sometimes you got to go through those things to learn. Hey man, we went to Rutgers and got pummeled, but we learned and came back from that. A lot of people get pummeled at Rutgers. So I think for him, it's just, playing, and getting in the games. And he had a really great week. He scored 20 or more in both games, and looked good doing it. And so he's an integral part of our team. I think he's one of the most improved players in the league.
Greg Medea, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just wondering with Ty, what'd you see while you were recruiting him that made you think that he'd be a good fit? He played obviously a lot of Cleveland State and Florida. What'd you see that made you think that he'd be a fit with you?
He had a lot of assists and he could score. So he was a guy that I like guys that could score, but he also was a willing passer. I like being around him. I like talking to him on the phone. That's not always the case, especially for a 57-year-old man talking to a kid. I enjoyed visiting with him. I thought when he came on his visit, he was tiny. I was like, holy crap, this dude is short. But he has an unbelievable competitive spirit. He loves to practice. Okay. I love to practice. And so he doesn't have a bad day. And he's got an infectious personality. When we were in Europe, the players hung out with him. And that European trip, you find out who's the leader, because you can't go home and go to your girlfriend or your buddy down the street. You're isolated in a hotel in a foreign country. And so I thought he showed great leadership skills. And so those things, but you don't know some of those things until you get them. One of my former assistants from Northwest Florida was an assistant at Florida, Eric Pastrana. I had a lot of conversation with him about Ty. And so, but the first thing that jumped off the chart to me was probably his numbers, as far as him being able to score the ball and assist other players.
John Dell, go ahead.
Steve, is it easier or harder to play a team a second time here as the regular season goes?
I don't know. I've really thought about that. I mean, when I was at Northwest Florida, we played 3 times. So I don't know. I don't think it's any harder. I mean, you probably know a little bit more about the team that you're playing. I mean, it's obviously hard to play Clemson twice because they're the best team in the league right now. And I said that when we played them the first time. It's kind of like last year. I said, hey man, Miami's really good, on January 1. And, maybe you guys listened, but some people didn't. They went to the Elite Eight. I'm not Nostradamus here, but I'm just telling you Clemson's really good, because they can defend and score. I mean, their numbers are ridiculous, in the league as far as their defense and offense. And they've got all league players, 2 of them, in my opinion, for sure, in Hall and I can't remember my man, Hunter Tyson, so it'll be a really hard game, but, we have a little bit more knowledge about them too. And, we flew all the way across the world, from Wisconsin to play them on a Friday, which was great scheduling by the ACC. And so hopefully, we'll be a little more rested this time.
We'll go next to David Teal. Go ahead, David.
Steve, you said the other day after Georgia Tech, it may have been your best game of the season. After watching the film, you still think so?
That was Boston College. There.
Or BC. No, excuse me.
No, it's never as good as you think it is, David. It's never as bad as you think it is, right? It was good. I just felt good because it was a road game and it's a hard place to play. And I challenged my team because of the physicality of Boston College. I thought we played well through physical contact. Can we play better? Yeah. And we should. We need to, but as far as overall, offense and defense together, road game, yeah, I would say so for sure. I mean, the numbers kind of speak for themselves and the effort, and so hopefully, we'll continue to build on that as we go forward.
Get one more quick one in from Ben Conroy. Go ahead, Ben.
Coach, obviously Tuesday night is perhaps the biggest conference game of the year so far. ACC leader Clemson. What kind of atmosphere are you expecting in the Joel come Tuesday night from the students and the fans?
Well, I expect it, to be a great crowd. I mean, we have a good basketball team. We have a very likable team. We have a team that shares the ball. They're fun to watch. They're good guys on and off the court. There's really no reason not to come. And so, I would expect it to be a great crowd. If it is or it isn't, we're still going to play, and it's our job to get the crowd into the game, not them get us into the game, and so, but I would think we've had some good crowds. I mean, I thought we had a great student crowd against Florida State. Now that they're back, and I'm sure they'll, be here at 9 o'clock. I mean, I went to college, wasn't that many moons ago, but I really wasn't studying a whole lot after 9 o'clock. Maybe I get up at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. the night before a test and maybe cram, but I think it's probably by 9 o'clock you could go have some fun, and go to the game. So I would expect it to be a good crowd. I'll say this too. I was very impressed with Clemson. We went down on a Friday night and they had the ACC championship football game the next day in Charlotte. And I thought they had a great crowd. They had a great crowd in that building that night. They were loud, Clemson and their fans, for coming out and supporting their team, which is a good basketball team.
Steve, thanks for the time today. We appreciate it. See you next week.